What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm excited to bring you a new knife review. Really quick, in the pocket today is the ProTech Malibu. This one here has the textured scales, 20 CV. Really love this. This is still absolutely my favorite button lock out of everything that is out there that I've encountered anyway. I am also today carrying in the opposite pocket my Axial Shift. Mad love to Axial. Sorry for all the grief Microtech is giving you, because we really are rooting for you an affordable, well-made USA OTF knife. Really hope that you guys can work through that. Hate to see Microtech being like that, but hopefully, and we don't have all the details, but hopefully that gets worked out really soon. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. I have a brand new Spyderco to share with you guys today. This one here is going to be the Blade HQ exclusive. This one is the Shaman, an M4 steel with the green micarta scales. Now, the knife is not in here. I just wanted you to see the box and everything that comes with it. If you're not familiar with Spyderco, it usually comes with a letter for their exclusives telling you what the exclusive is all about. You get a little sticker, you get a little warranty card, and you get some moisture wicking materials with that as well. So here's the knife. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. This is what it looked like when it came. It had the micarta scales on there, and they were pretty well done. At this point, I realized I hadn't done a video with them not having the forced patina. I threw some mineral on them, let them sit for a little while and soak it up, and dried it off, and I liked the way that it looked. The micarta was pretty well done. It did feel like it had just a little hint of blade play, so I wanted to see if it was tight or loose, and everything felt fine. Everything felt nice and tight on the pivot and the body screws, but it had just like a little hint of play. And I've noticed that with micarta, if you over tighten it, it does seem like it gives a little bit and creates a little void, so that you do get a little bit of that. So I'm thinking that's what was going on, because I did go ahead and swap the scales out for my dark matter scales, fat carbon dark matter scales that I picked up from Carbodize, and threw those on here. And I wasn't sure if I was going to really like it, because I had these on the S30V variant that Sat2 Dave picked up off of me. Thanks, Sat2, for picking that up. It did help fund or recoup fund from the purchase of this particular knife. And I do enjoy M4 steel. I know that it is not completely stainless, but that doesn't really bother to me. And I honestly thought I was going to coat this blade, but now I'm kind of in this spot where I kind of like the contrast, but I still kind of also want to send it out to get a Cerakote done on all the hardware and the liners and the blade to get it murdered out again. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, because I would be interested to see what your thoughts are. Let me go ahead and run through the specs. They're going to be very similar to what they are for the S30V variant. So it has a 3.61 inch M4 blade, as I mentioned, from Blade HQ. It is an exclusive. It has 4.7 inch carbon fiber scales, but it came with the micarta scales. Overall length 8.31 inches, and let's check the weight with the M4 steel. I have not weighed it yet. Alright, let's see. So 5 ounces, they claim 5.2, and I believe the S30V variant was 4.9, so relatively about the same. Let me go ahead and run through the comparison knives with this one here, so that you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. And I'm going to drop the camera down just a little bit. I just realized I have it up way high. I don't know what I was filming earlier, but I'm going to run through my usual knives. First up is going to be the Yojimbo 2, which is the other comparison knife that I usually use in this arena. So what I'm going to do is bring out a different knife for this part of the comparison for you guys. That is going to be the Civivi Conspirator, and I chose the Conspirator because I think it has a very similar type of blade profile, handle profile, especially with these skinny scales. But as you can see, this is just a much larger knife than either one of the two on the table. Just slightly larger than the Conspirator, but it is much larger than the Yojimbo 2. Alright, let's go ahead and bring out, since I don't have the Spydercos, I'm going to bring out two budget USA knives. That is going to be the Kershaw Skyline here in the Blade HQ exclusive with the 20 CV. And I am going to bring out the Smock, which is the other Blade HQ exclusive that I have as well. This one M4 steel uncoated. I think coating it might be the way to go. I think I am going to send it out and Cerakote it. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop in the middle of the comparison knives, but I think that's what I am going to do with this one. All right, let me bring out the budget knives really quick, just for those that are interested in the size reference. Here is the Kubi Royale, the Royale with cheese, and here is my Buck 110 Slim. And as you can see, the Buck's still longer, but it does have that more slender profile. Or is it? That's really close. Yeah, it's just a hair longer, just a hair. All right, let me go ahead and jump into this knife and give you my thoughts and impressions. And actually, I have a little bit of a story time for you guys. I jumped on right at noon, my time for when they open, and placed my order, and I got my confirmation email. Super excited to get this knife. And next day I got the email. Not bad, right? Next day they emailed me the tracking number, letting me know that it was going to be on its way. Well, that was on, I don't know, I think a Wednesday. So by Friday I hadn't gotten it, and I was a little concerned, so I checked the tracking number, and there was that exclamation mark next to the tracking number, and it said damage. My heart sunk, because I had posted my video. I was ready to sell the S30V variant. I was super excited because this was the version that I wanted most out of all the ones that I have seen out there. I wanted the M4 variants. I don't know if there's, because sometimes they come out with M4 variants, but they only offer the uncoated. They don't come back and do a coated version, so I didn't know if there'd be another opportunity to get the coated version, because I'd like to have the coated version and have, you know, the markings and everything on it, because when you send it out for Cerakote, all that's gone. You don't see that on the knife anywhere. So I tried to reach out to UPS. They said they were contacting the shipper. I reached out to Blade HQ. They researched it and they got back to me, and they said they were willing to replace it. And I was like, oh, thank God, they held some back. They're going to send me another one. Well, they emailed me that same afternoon and saying, apologies, we actually don't have any left in stock. We're going to issue you a refund. So sorry. I was devastated. Absolutely devastated. I couldn't believe I had missed my opportunity to get the Shaman that I wanted. I think I've been saying Smock. The Shaman that I wanted. I just couldn't believe it. I was beside myself. I was super upset. You know, just disappointed. I was grateful to have gotten my money back, don't get me wrong, but I was like, oh no. I had sold the one that I had and shipped it. When I found out, no, I think I had sold it, but I hadn't shipped it yet. And I was really just beside myself. So, you know, I check Reddit all the time. I'm always looking for any type of deals on more expensive knives that I kind of want, but don't really want to fork out that much money for, or maybe trying to find a deal on something. And I came across quite a few listings where folks were selling these for $270. So it was about, I talked with my son about this the other day. It was about like $265 shipped. And or was it $256? Sorry, it was $256 shipped, because it was like I paid $14 more for this shipped. So I wasn't happy that I ended up having to go to the secondary market and that I could only find it for slightly more, but I had seen where folks were paying $300 for it, so I felt like, you know, $14 more wasn't awful to get the one that I wanted. So let me talk a little bit about the knife now that I've shared the story time of how I actually got my variant of the Blade HQ exclusive Spyderco Smock. And UPS has had multiple issues, just as an FYI, for me as a shipper. I have not had any issues with USPS delivering my packages. There's been a couple where, the box is a little smushed or something, but I got the knife and it was in, good condition, which is what you really want. But this is now the second time I've actually had an issue with UPS, and when I researched it, it seems like they are targeting Blade HQ deliveries with UPS, because I noticed that is a common theme, that it's Blade HQ related and UPS is always the shipper where these knives come up missing, don't get delivered, or there's some other issue. All right, so back to the knife. What I was saying is that the knife itself did have just a little bit of play, just a tiny hit of play. And I noticed when I put my scales on from Carbidized, that is completely gone. It is locked up. I know the knife looks like it's rocking, but I think that's me moving around. But it is locked up solid with no play whatsoever. It took a little bit of loosening and tightening back up to get it back centered, but I think that's normal. I've found when you're replacing the scales, you kind of have to loosen it, hold it to that side, and then tighten it up a little bit, and then everything will finally kind of settle down. The other thing that I noticed as well is that the whole lineup here was just a tiny bit different. There is a little bit of a lip here, so I think there's a little bit of a difference maybe with this particular model and this backspacer that they made for this particular variant. The other thing that I noticed is that the detent was super light. So while I had it apart, I went ahead and just kind of pulled that pry bar over a little bit, put it back together. It was too tight, took it apart, loosened it back up some, and now it's perfect. My thumb actually was super sore from where I was trying to see if it was going to break in from being overly tight, but this to me feels very similar to the S30V variant. It feels just a tiny bit smoother because it's an uncoated blade, but it's not a huge difference. Still the annoying nub that hits your finger when you close it. You got to kind of time it to let it go as it's closing, but outside of that, really good. Now as far as the blade goes, I don't have any cardboard nearby, but Spyderco's edge is on here. It is super sharp, no issues whatsoever. The guy that bought it, he said he bought one because he was I guess window shopping and decided to pull the trigger, and then he really said he couldn't afford it, and that's why he sold it. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Should I coat this? I really think it would look, I think it looks so good blacked out. I think I'm going to coat it. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Does it look better with the satin blade on here, which is a fingerprint magnet, by the way? Or should I go ahead and just get the Cerakote on there and black it out? Now, I hesitate with that because it is a sprint run for Blade HQ. They're not going to come back in stock. I have the scales that you saw earlier in the video. I think I keep saying smock. The Shaman. I do have the this is a Blade HQ exclusive Shaman sprint run. They're not going to bring them back in stock. I do have the original scales, and I realize that coating it may devalue it, but I don't think any knife, irregardless, is going to increase in value the longer that it's been around without another run happening, because eventually Blade HQ is going to do another run. They maybe they'll do a 20 CV, because I can see Spyderco bringing these out in S45 eventually, because they did it with the paramilitary lineup. But I think that they'll do a different run of the Shaman, so that's why I think I'm okay with sending it out and getting it coated. I think I like the aesthetics better on the coated, and it does a fairly good job. It won't be stone washed or anything. That would be a lot of work on my part to send it out, coat it, and then turn around and stone wash it on my end. But I think the coating, especially the one that comes from Spyderco, does a pretty good job. You can see some pretty good job, but I mean, I use these. I'm not keeping them because I don't want to use them or have intentions of just have. I don't know that I have any save queens. I pretty much use all the knives that I own, I think if we got to a point where I felt like I needed to have a save queen, I would hope it was like 1 of 10. But let me know what you think in the comments. Should I go ahead and just pull the trigger and get it coded? Maybe not. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor. If you could, leave a like. It does help me with the channel. And if you're enjoying the content but not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you follow along. Don't know why you haven't joined already. We have a lot of fun, and there's a ton of content, and there's tons more to come. I got a lot of stuff coming in that is going to be new, and reviews, and I do little mods that I think everybody enjoys, even when it comes down to like the Civivi pocket clip mod that I had up on the channel recently. I think people appreciate that. Thank you to everyone out there that is already supporting the channel. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.